Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most shocking developments in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. In a daring overnight operation, Ukrainian drones have reportedly destroyed a key Russian bridge, a strike that has sent shockwaves through Moscow and raised serious questions about Russia's control over its critical supply lines. This latest attack is not just another strike. It's a powerful message of defiance from Ukraine and a major escalation that could reshape the dynamics of the war. According to multiple reports coming out of the region, the bridge was struck in a coordinated drone assault late last night. Eyewitnesses described a series of explosions that lit up the night sky as flames engulfed the structure. The attack targeted a bridge considered vital to Russian military logistics, connecting occupied territories to mainland Russia. This wasn't a random hit. It was a precise, deliberate strike aimed at cutting off a lifeline for Russian forces. The intensity of the explosions reportedly caused sections of the bridge to collapse, halting both military and civilian transport across the span. The destruction of the bridge has massive symbolic and strategic importance. For Russia, it represents a blow to its sense of control and invincibility. For Ukraine, it's a moment of triumph. Proof that its growing fleet of advanced drones can strike deep into Russian infrastructure. Over the past few months, Ukraine has significantly expanded its drone warfare capabilities, developing both long-range and kamikaze-style drones that can travel hundreds of kilometers. This latest strike shows how effective those advancements have become, and how Ukraine is changing the nature of modern warfare. Russian officials have rushed to contain the situation, with the Kremlin labeling the attack a terrorist act. Moscow's media outlets initially tried to downplay the damage, but videos shared on social platforms tell a different story. Massive fires, twisted metal, and the eerie silence of a structure that once carried a steady stream of vehicles and supplies. Satellite images confirm large portions of the bridge are now unusable. Russian emergency crews have been dispatched to the scene, but repairing the damage could take weeks, if not months. The reaction from the Russian public has been mixed. On one hand, state-controlled news channels are pushing a narrative of resilience, promising swift repairs and retaliation. On the other hand, many Russians online are expressing frustration and disbelief, questioning how Ukraine continues to penetrate deep into Russian-controlled areas despite Moscow's advanced air defense systems. It's becoming increasingly clear that Ukraine's drone strategy is working, and that Russia's defenses are not as impenetrable as they claim. In Kyiv, officials are celebrating the success quietly but confidently. While Ukrainian leaders rarely take direct responsibility for attacks on Russian infrastructure, their statements often carry a knowing tone. A senior Ukrainian defense official remarked that any structure aiding the occupation is a legitimate target, signaling that more such strikes could follow. The message is unmistakable. Ukraine is taking the fight beyond its borders, using technology and precision tactics to weaken Russia's grip and disrupt its logistics. This strike also carries psychological weight. Russia has long used its infrastructure, especially bridges and railways, as symbols of strength and permanence. Destroying such a symbol shakes that perception. It tells both Russian troops and civilians that nowhere is completely safe, and that Ukraine has the capability to strike wherever it chooses. This is not just about physical damage. It's about changing the mindset of an entire nation and undermining confidence in its leadership. From a military perspective, the bridge's destruction could seriously disrupt Russian supply chains. Bridges like this one are critical for moving fuel, ammunition, and troops to frontline positions. Losing this route forces Russia to reroute its supplies through longer, more vulnerable paths. That slows down their operations and gives Ukraine an advantage in key battlegrounds. Military analysts are already predicting that the loss of this bridge will strain Russia's logistics and could lead to shortages at the front. In war, logistics are everything, and Ukraine knows that every bridge, rail line, or depot they take out brings them closer to victory. International reactions have poured in quickly. Western analysts have praised Ukraine's tactical brilliance, calling this attack a masterstroke of modern drone warfare. The United States and European nations have repeatedly supplied Ukraine with funding and technology for drone development, And this strike is evidence of how those investments are paying off. Meanwhile, the Russian government is likely to use this incident as a pretext to escalate its retaliatory strikes, especially targeting Ukrainian infrastructure. This back-and-forth escalation continues to push both nations toward a dangerous new phase in the conflict. For ordinary citizens on both sides, this means more uncertainty and fear. In Russia, people living near strategic infrastructure are growing anxious as attacks creep closer to their homes. In Ukraine, there's a sense of hope but also caution. Each successful strike boosts morale, but it also risks triggering harsh retaliation. The war has now reached a point where drones, satellites, and cyber warfare are as important as tanks and soldiers. The battlefield has expanded far beyond the trenches, and technology is playing a decisive role in shaping its outcome. What makes this event especially significant is that it reflects a shift in global military strategy. Drone warfare, once seen as secondary, is now at the forefront. Ukraine's use of domestically produced drones shows how even a smaller nation can leverage innovation to challenge a much larger military power. These unmanned systems are cheaper, harder to detect, and capable of delivering devastating results. In many ways, Ukraine's success could inspire other nations facing similar threats to invest heavily in drone technology. The implications of this strike reach far beyond Eastern Europe. They're rewriting the playbook for future conflicts. As for Moscow, the government's immediate challenge is both physical and political. Repairing the bridge is one thing, but restoring public confidence is another. The Kremlin faces mounting pressure to prove that it can protect its territory. Each successful Ukrainian attack chips away at that image of strength that Russia has carefully built. At the same time, the Russian military must reassess its defense systems, which have repeatedly failed to intercept Ukrainian drones. Experts suggest that Russia's current radar and anti-air systems were designed for large, traditional aircraft, not small, fast-moving drones that fly low and evade detection. This mismatch is leaving critical infrastructure dangerously exposed. The coming weeks will reveal how both sides adapt. If Ukraine continues its drone campaign with this level of precision, Russia will be forced to divert significant resources toward defense, potentially weakening its offensive capabilities elsewhere. Meanwhile, Ukrainian engineers and intelligence units are likely already planning the next move. Every successful strike not only weakens Russia militarily, but also sends a message to the world. Ukraine is resilient, resourceful, and ready to fight for its freedom no matter the odds. This war, once thought to be defined by tanks and artillery, has become a technological contest, one where innovation can tip the balance. The destruction of the Russian bridge is more than a tactical victory. It's a symbol of resistance, ingenuity, and determination. It shows how Ukraine is fighting not just with courage, but with creativity. Moscow's shock today may turn into a strategic headache tomorrow as they realize that Ukraine's reach extends further than ever before. As always, we'll continue to follow this story closely. The world is watching, and every new development reveals another layer of this complex, high-stakes conflict. For now, one thing is certain. Ukraine has once again proven that it can strike where it matters most, and that the age of drone warfare has truly arrived. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned for the latest updates and analyses on this ongoing story.